going on, agents? Biz here with another Division 2 video. I hope you brought a comfy chair because we're kicking off a series on exotic gear. Today, we're going toe-to-toe with 2 exotic masks and seeing which one fits the best. As always, if you're new here or you've been around since the chicken or the egg made an appearance, you are welcome here. This channel is all about having a good time and getting better together, so I thank you for stopping by and sharing your time here. If you like terrible jokes and bubblegum, well, I gotta say, I got a lot of the one and none of the other. But be sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you like what you see, so you never miss a beat. With all that said, let's strap up, crack a cold canned beverage of choice, and get down to it. Okay, so one thing Division 2 got right was slow dripping a lot of exotics into the game. Some really best in slot, and some, well, not so much. Either way, it's the intent that counts, because without them, we wouldn't be having this chat, am I right? Each week, for the next few videos, we'll be going through the gear slots and checking out these exotic gear pieces. We'll also dive into how to get some of them for those of you new or returning, and in true Biz fashion, I'm going to throw you my secret sauce for builds you can use in both PvE and PvP content. To kick this off, we're going to begin at masks. Now in this game, we have 2 exotic masks in the Coyote and the Vial mask. Now, before we get into how we use these 2 exotic masks in a build, we should probably know what they do, right? We'll start where we're familiar at the Coyotes Mask. Now this can be found anywhere as it's in the general loot pool. There's a higher drop rate if targeted loot is masks, and I'm pretty sure it's an even higher drop rate from the Hyena boss Coyote at the end of the Jefferson Trade Center mission. You know, the boss the mask is named after. This exotic mask comes rolled with damage in mind, as we have max weapon damage core with a crit hit chance and damage in the attributes. You also get a mod slot, as you can do any mask to customize to your heart's content. The exotic talent we get on this mask is Pack Instincts, where you and all allies get a crit bonus based on the distance of the last enemy you have hit. This bonus is 25% crit damage for anything 0 to 15 meters away, 10% chance in damage for any mid-range at 15 to 20 meters away, and anything further than 25 meters will net a 25% bonus to crit chance. This mask is very useful when making your standard damage build. Also, it's really good, and I mean almost necessary, when in a raid or just playing with a group in general. Any exotic that can help the entire team is top tier in my eyes. Now to the other side, we have the Vial. Now again, this can be found anywhere, as it's now in the general loot pool. It has a higher drop rate when masks are targeted loot, and no extra drop bonus that I know of from an enemy. I mean, if you have other intel on better drop rates for the Vial, leave it in the comments below, and help everyone get better together. This exotic mask comes rolled to be the agent who can both dish it out and take it when it comes to status effects. You're going to get this out of the box with the skill tier for the core, and then status effects and hazard protection for the attributes. Just like the Coyotes Mask, you also get a mod slot to put whatever you'd like in there. I mean, as long as it exists in the game. The exotic talent tied to the Vial is Toxic Delivery, in which status effects do a damage over time debuff for 10 seconds. Total damage dealt is going to be equal to 50% or 20% in PvP of your concussion grenade damage, and increased by having status effect attributes. I really feel like Vial was a bit of a sleeper until recently. I mean, this mask has a lot of potential to mess up anyone on the receiving end of it. For one, you add even more damage to opposing agents that you deal a status effect to. Also, that damage over 10 seconds includes a tick that will damage your enemy over time, meaning every time they try to pop a medkit or revive someone, they'll be interrupted in doing so. I think that part alone makes this mask a very useful tool in any agent's arsenal going into conflict or the Dark Zone. So you guys gotta know by now, I wouldn't leave you high and dry with no builds for these exotics, right? We have 2 completely different builds that I made with these masks to help you on your way. Both of these were a lot of fun to use when roaming around in conflict, and I think you're going to like them too. As this is my first time diving into the Vial on this channel, we're going to start there. Let me know in the comments below how you build with this mask, and let's get better together. So to start, this build is set up on a survivalist specialization. We like this because crossbows are rad, but also, you and the team get extra damage to enemies caught in status effects. Also, the medkit that will heal you and your nearby allies? Super tight. Overall, this is a bit of a hodgepodge build, so bear with me. We see 3 yellow, 2 blue, and 1 red core attribute, with a nice mix of yellow, red, and blue attributes. Our main focus will be status effects, but we want to crank out a little bit of extra damage too. Kicking things off with the weapons, we visit the capacitor for our main damage tool. This is an exotic that drops from the summit from completing summit challenges. If you haven't gotten this yet, it's probably worth going to grind for, as it shouldn't take more than an hour or two to get it unlocked. This AR comes with the talent Capacitance. We like this talent because every shot landed will boost out skill damage up to 60%. Also, this talent will turn those yellow cores into half red cores, so we don't miss out on as much damage. For the secondary, you can kind of land wherever you want for this one. I didn't see myself pulling this out too often, as most of the time the skills will do the talking here. Gear-wise, we start at the vial, what we all came for. I put skill duration in the mod slot, as I want the skill I'm using to last as long as possible, and you'll see why. When we apply a status effect, that debuff is going to do 1.2 million damage over 10 seconds in PvE. Not as much in PvP, but that tick that stops enemies from putting a medkit on? Priceless. On the chest rig, we landed a Fenris piece to buff damage to the capacitor. We also land on Trauma as the chest talent. The goal with this build is to be able to have statuses come from everywhere. And the Trauma talent, being able to apply bleed on a body shot and blind on a headshot, well, we like that. Moving to the holster and knees, we have 2 pieces of Empress International. These pieces will net us bonuses to skill, health, and damage, and again, we want those skills to be a bit tanky, and you're going to see why in a bit. At the gloves, we pop on a Sokolov Concern pair of mitts. In this case, we use the named Firm Handshake, which is not only going to give us a bonus to SMG damage, but also a named bonus to 15% status effects. I know some people are going to say rolling into skill damage is far superior, but rolling status on this build made it a lot of fun, and helped buff the power of the Vial Mask. Finally, at the backpack, we wrap up the gear with Golan. Now, this brand set will give us a bonus to, again, status effects, bringing the count to 75% status effect damage. We also use the backpack talent Creeping Death here, that will spread a status effect to any enemy within 8 meters of the original enemy you apply the status to. This is really good, as a lot of players in PvP travel in packs. This build will disrupt that strategy and allow you and your other teammates to single out the opposition. Dropping down into skills, we go first to the Striker Drone. Now, I've been on the receiving end of this skill, and it's a chore to bring down, even at 3 skill tiers. Imagine it kind of like a little fly distracting your enemy, only this fly can and will take your enemies out. Kind of like Jeff Goldblum in The Fly. Gross. The second skill I'm sure Jeff will be proud of, as we lean on the Riot Foam Chem Launcher. Now, this skill takes a bit of a learning curve, but once you tap into it, you're immobilizing a player in PvP for about 5 seconds, and that's enough time to let you and your teammates eat. Not to mention, you get the vial and maybe the Creeping Death bonuses, making for, well, a real sticky situation. Overall, I had a lot of fun poking around with this setup. A word of caution, though, the Riot Foam takes some adjusting to be proficient with it. Try to have the skill already equipped before jumping into combat, and you'll bypass a lot of that grief. Now, hey, we're not done just yet. We still need to show you how to build with the Coyotes Mask. Now, if you've been around this channel, you know this wasn't a hard task to complete. I love crits. Not grits, but those are awesome too. Giving credit where it's due, I can't take it for this setup. I saw RogueGold melting some people in the DZ with this setup, and when I threw it on, I bought the hype. Make sure you check out his channel, though. He streams most Sundays, and he's a really solid part of this community. Thanks, Rogue. To start, we land on the Firewall specialization. If you know, you know. At least that's what the kids say. But in case you don't, the medkit, dope. The Husky Shield, dope. Overall, the signature weapon being a flamethrower, come on, man. This is a great specialization. No cap? Moving into weapons, we can smell the meta from a block away. Eagle Bearer and an M1A CQB with Boomerang. For those that aren't familiar with Boomerang, this talent slaps. Critical hits will have a 50% chance to return to the magazine. If that round is returned to the magazine, the next shot will deal 40% extra damage. This helps 2 ways, as you'll deal more damage, but given the best luck, you're going to have a larger magazine, so you won't need to reload as much. Overall, this build is a 3 red, 3 blue core setup with almost everything tuned to red like the Kool-Aid Man. Oh yeah! Moving into the gear, we see the Coyotes Mask, Howling an Exotic to kick things off. After that, my Swiss Army Knife brand set of Grupo Sombra for the chest piece. We're equipping one with Unbreakable. Now I know, this might be not the typical Adrenaline Intimidate combo, but hear me out. Adding this means I can survive more, and you can't do damage if you're dead. We like this for its tank purposes. Up next, we see 2 pieces of Walker Harris in the holster and backpack slots. Now these will grant bonuses to weapon damage and armor damage, which is always good. Also, as we're at the backpack, we ride with Adrenaline Rush. Again, this is more for the tankiness the bonus armor will give us. Picture this build as a damage build wrapped in a bulletproof bubble wrap. That blue bonus armor, that's just another layer. Heading into the gloves, we equip a set of Fenris gloves. Now, this was a departure as I've been really liking contracted gloves here for a while. But when I look at the numbers, we subtract only 3% damage to armor by subbing in the Walker Harris, but we add 10% AR damage, which pumps up our Eagle Bearer. I mean, I think the damage speaks for itself that this was a good trade-off. Finishing out the gear, we throw a Fox's Prayer at the wall and see what sticks. In this case, what sticks? Extra rifle damage for the M1A and damage out of cover for the whole class. Dropping into the skills for the setup, I'm liking the Striker Shield in an effort to lean all the way into all Firewall has to offer. I mean, if I'm going to be meta, I'm going to be meta. We also support this with a decoy. I like the decoy for obvious reasons, but one I didn't know before today is that you could throw a decoy on someone's trap and blow it up. Kinda neat. Overall, this build is also a lot of fun to run and mess around in PvP with. I also like how damage builds can also work in PvE pretty well, especially when running in a group and you get that pack instinct talent going. Everyone eats when that kicks off. Final thoughts on these two masks and the builds we made for them? I really like the Coyotes Mask, and the team buffs are great for everyone. That being said, it was awesome to build something new and use some skills I don't typically use in the Riot foam with the Vile Mask. I think in the case of overall practicality, I gotta give this one the Coyotes Masks, but don't sleep on the Vile. It can net some scare results in the right hands. Either way, that's gonna wrap things up here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you made it this far and haven't already, make sure you hit that like, subscribe button so you don't miss a beat in the land of Biz. I'll catch y'all next time. Biz out.